to sing with one voice to Christ our King, hand in hand so all can see your love.
All right, good morning, everyone. This is Dr. Bill with World Bible School, and welcome to Friday Morning Conversations. Hey, back with me is not only Pastor Jeffery, but also his wife. I'm assuming also pastors with you, Pastor Jamie Moody. And every time I hear Moody, I think of D.L. Moody, the great theologian from back in the day. But anyway, we are glad to have you guys back on the show this morning. So we have a great day planned. If you would just take a moment, greet our audience, and we'll get into this today.
Good morning, very much. Thank you. Yeah, we get asked all the time about Uncle DL and Uncle Tori and all of them, that phenomenal forerunners for back in the day. So, but it's good to see everybody this morning, be here with you, Bishop. And this is our third part today.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to talking about the body, talking about third part, the thing that we live in, right? The thing that we move in and have our being in and all of that. And it's not just in Christ, but it's also in this flesh. So learning a little bit of temple maintenance, a little bit of temple work, so to speak.
Yes.
To today. Me and Jamie, we've have a journey that we've been through and have picked up some valuable nuggets along the way of some shoulds or coulds, don't do's, all kind of little hacks, for the 21st century that we live in today.
Yeah, every standard, no matter how strict or how liberal, we all have standards where we draw the line. This is what we do, what we're comfortable with. This is what we're not comfortable with. And also, we have with us Pastor Jamie Moody this morning. How you doing, my sister?
I'm doing wonderful, and I'm so happy to be here. So glad to join you guys this morning and talk health, talk body.
Yes, absolutely. And so just to remind everybody, Pastor Jeffery and Jamie are certified holistic health coaches, life coaches. They pastor and shepherd the flock of God and enjoy a whole lot of different things that we've been talking about for the last few weeks. And when I get to part 3, it's always like, man, I wish this didn't have to come to an end. But for some reason, these are 3-part segments and been doing that ever since the inception. So we're talking about CHRIST-CENTRIC HOLISTIC HEALTH for the 21st century. And I can tell you that, as we've already spoken, a lot of cultures, particularly the Western culture, is to a great degree a very unhealthy culture. We have somehow in humanity had this idea that we're going to enjoy life, and that means eat all of the rich foods and the desserts and the things that just because they taste good to the palate. But the thing is that it's not always healthy. I remember Kenneth E. Hagin Sr. Back in the day. He said he lived a fasted life. He said where you could have a large slice of cake, just cut it down. Back off from foods. Don't eat what you would normally eat. And that's really a soulish condition that we've already been talking about. But today we're going to talk about the body pertaining to our diet, to exercise, to hydration, fasting, breath work. We talked about meditation last week, and Pastor Jeffery walked us through an exercise near the end of the session. We're going to talk about cold therapy. And so in all of this, there's the big 5: health, finances, relationships, career, calling, connection with spirit or spirituality. And I don't know how much of this we'll be able to get to, but there's the 9 pillars of legacy, food, rest, movement, breath, thought, relationship, water, nature. And this all takes us to where we're starting today. And I just want to say before we get into this, welcome everybody that's watching. There's Darlene, Dr. Faye, Michelle Sparks, there's Senior Pastor Samuel, and many others that are already on that. Just thank you so much for being on. So real quickly, 1 Corinthians 3, chapter 3, verses 16 through 18. This is from the Message Bible. You realize, don't you, that you are the temple of God, and God himself is present in you. No one is getting by with vandalizing God's temple. This is not talking about buildings. This is not talking about structures. It says no one gets away with vandalizing God's temple. In other words, there are consequences if you don't take care of your body. You can be sure of that, it says. It says God's temple is sacred, and you, remember, are the temple. Don't fool yourself. Don't think that you can be wise merely by being up to date with the times or trying to keep up with cultures, especially if it's an unhealthy culture. So kick it off this morning. Tell us where we're going with this, what you're seeing when it comes to taking care of our body.
Well, it's the physical realm in the body is where we get to actually experience it and do it all. It's where the meditation, like we talked about last week, you get to see the benefits of that physically in your daily interactions, right, in your spiritual walk. So I think for the large majority of me, I spend a lot of time in my body, here in my flesh, right? So whether I'm at work, whether I'm raising children, whether I'm on the go, whether I'm traveling from point to point A, B, I'm doing it right here in this body. And if I want to definitely shine the light of Christ, if I want to be the salt of the earth, I want to be healthy. I want to be agile. I want to be flexible. Have the ability to go and do, and also I want to just feel good in my body, right, Jimmy?
Yeah. And like you were saying, here in America, especially, we've kind of gotten used to just being indulged.
Mm-hmm.
We indulge ourselves with pleasure, whether it's entertainment pleasure, whether it's food pleasure, whether it's just whatever. And I think it's kind of gotten into the collective of just being that way. But I see an awakening of it. It's kind of gone for so long, and everybody's now seeing and awakened to the consequences of it, and everything. So now I do see an awakening of people really getting back into being healthier, conscious, and physically conscious of what they're doing to their bodies.
Yeah, I say that as a rise. Discipleship is a big key to that. As we become disciplined in what we do, how we eat, how we think, the way we do life and interact, as we continue to live a more disciplined life, because I do enjoy the pleasures of life. I like a good chocolate. I like a good glass of wine. I like a good steak. I enjoy the things in life, but moderation. I don't enjoy it every day or all the time or over excessive. And I think, the indulgence aspect of here in the West, we live in such a blessed culture that everything's on demand. We can really instant type culture. If I feel like going out and enjoy a good meal, it's very simple to do so. I don't literally have to go and slaughter the animal and clean it, prepare it, and it's pretty much done for. So it's real easy to tap into that. So yeah, just being disciplined in all aspects of our body. I think that's really the awakening that's coming to the body of Christ here in the West. And that's one thing I admire much and would speak about the health in the East. I love the Ayurvedic health practices that is in the East. It's very holistic, very natural, very conservative. It's very moderate. It's not over indulgent. So to speak. So I really like that aspect of it. And as we implement a lot of good moderate health practices here in the West, I believe we'll see a benefit of it in our physical body and all the diseases that come along with these indulgences or not being moderate in what we do here. Really will.
Yeah, because with diseases, it's not easy to deal with a disease, a long-term illness type thing that comes from abusing your health. One of the things that that comes to mind is when the Apostle Paul said to be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord. I don't take that as to be absent in death. I take that as to be absent from the control of the desires of the body, giving the body what it wants. If I don't discipline the body, then the body will not be disciplined. I would then have to come under the rule of someone else, a dictator, that would tell me when to eat, what to do, how to eat, how to exercise, etc. And so as the Apostle Paul is talking about this, it seems that he's referring to the church. And the church I call the many-membered body as one, as Father's holy dwelling place in this earthly temple. And, I notice that the physical temple is referred to in many ways. For me, I teach that I am spirit, soul, and body as one, all spirit. But then I reflect. The Bible said Jesus came in the appearance of man, that I reflect myself through the portal of my mother's womb into this physical realm. This physical realm is necessary because there's a whole lot of people that don't even begin to understand the concept of discipline as far as Christ is concerned. And so we're here to teach them and to help them so they come into the revelation of truth that really does help them to live longer. I mean, think about in the Old Testament, some people lived to around 1,000 years old, and we don't know if there were those who lived beyond that. I feel like at some point we're going to have to stick around for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years and keep preaching this message, because those that have the revelation, I read scripture yesterday in my lesson that I'm preparing to teach in the morning for my college about how that it's important that we share the message. It's important that we tell other people. And so here he's referring to believers symbolically as the human body, a type of New Testament inner sanctuary where the Spirit dwells. And so I know there's a lot of things to taking care of the body. So you guys just go ahead and share from your heart, what does it really mean to what are we really dealing with here? Can a person get away with using and abusing their physical body because we have grace? Hey, there's grace, so we can do what we want to do. Is that really true? How do we deal with that?
Yeah, that's a good point, Bishop Bill. There's in the freedom grace camp, we're just free to eat whatever, however, whatever, without being accountable, without being responsible, without a consequence to it. We just, we plead the blood over it and say we're allowed to eat whatever, whenever, and expect there not to be a consequence with it. And then we wonder why we do have the diabetes or the high cholesterol, high blood pressure, all the other things that go along with that particular ideology. In that, so that don't serve us too well. Even Apostle Paul, he said, I keep my body under. He actually kept his body in subjection, and he learned how to be content in all things. So yeah, the abuse of the temple, it comes. I know for me, some of it just simply came ignorantly. I didn't know no better. And if you don't know no better, you can't do better. So that's kind of like our passion that we have for the body of Christ, is just to inform of some practices that could be renewed. Our mind could be renewed in, think differently, and experience differently in.
Right, because if we talk about the indulgence of, society indulging, okay, it's for pleasure, right? So if we're the type of coaches, because we're in a transformative grace, we're not under the law or anything like that, so we don't usually go don't do. They're guidelines. Okay, so if we're talking about food, we're talking about foods that we know maybe have a consequence if you eat them or overindulge or abuse them. Then we say, okay, if you're eating this for pleasure, then how many bites do you have to have in order to get that pleasure out? So like you were saying, a smaller slice of cake instead of half the cake, or, like down here, Dairy Queen's a huge thing. Okay. Instead of getting the ginormous blizzard, just get the little small one or a couple bites or split it with someone. How much do you have to have in order to actually get that pleasure explosion in your brain.
And we do both with our children. For all you parents out there, we actually we'll buy like a mini blizzard. We all like blizzards. I really enjoy that. But we'll buy a small one and we'll share it. But then there's times too where we buy one and give them their own and let them, according to their conscience, figure out how much. Now, for my 9-year-old, she'll eat the whole thing. And then my older boys, as they grow up and mature, 2 or 3 bites and they're totally satisfied. They're like, if I eat any more, it's not going to be pleasurable. So they really grasp it. So we try to take these little practical tips and implement them in our daily life and share them with others. So diet is a big thing here in the West. And just I guess nutrition would be a better way of saying that. Really just giving the body what it needs as far as nutrition would be the way we would renew our mind in that area.
Yeah, and I think about counting calories. Okay, if that's the diet system somebody chooses, that's fine. But I almost think of a religious bondage. I got to make sure that I get right to that edge and I don't go over. And if I go over, then I was bad that day. And you go through this mental torment almost. But you're right, because another thing I find in our culture is that we feel like if I don't eat it all, then I'm wasting food. So we were taught from children, clean your plate. That was a big thing in the house I was raised in. I was the oldest of 6 children. Clean your plate. Make sure you eat everything on your plate. And if you go back for seconds, clean your plate. And so you're always doing that. Now, another thing I wanted to ask, a few years ago, we had a minister friend passing, doing a itinerary through the U.S. From India. And he came to our house, and we fixed him as nice a meals as we could, but he was always wanting something with more spice. I know that's the thing in India, is really spicy food. Is that always healthy? Can that just eat at your stomach? I like jalapeno peppers, I like hot sauce. But is that always? Sometimes it just doesn't sit well with me, and I have to back off. So in all cultures, are there things that really are do's and don'ts as far as foods?
Yeah, so Hippocrates says, let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food, right? So when you're talking about spicy foods, there's always a food that, and I would say that in most of the Eastern cultures that use the spicy foods, they have a food that they eat with it to counteract a lot of what happens in the stomach and that kind of thing. So it's knowing kind of those balanced foods, the acidic and bases, to eat along with it.
Yeah.
So a lot of your turmeric, your cumin, even your peppers and herbs and certain roots and all. It all has a medicinal effect to the body. Turmeric, just for example, is super great for inflammation. And I really don't know of too many folks here in the West that doesn't deal with inflammation on some level in their body. So just a simple incorporating this one particular supplement into your body can definitely have a tremendous effect on the way you feel and the way you move. So yes, in the East, they are very holistic, very natural, incorporating into their diet the foods that they eat.
And two, we're also talking about the difference between natural spicy food and like artificial spicy foods, like
not the hot Tabasco,
sauces, right?
Which I like the Tabasco, I like all that, but there's a more natural way. In fact, when Pastor Kirby came over last to the States, Mel, she shared with me some peppers that they brought. They brought some peppers with them because they do like the spice and all. And these peppers were very tiny. So of course I'm thinking, as a Westerner, and they were like, no, just cut this tiny little pepper and then rub it on your foot. It was that hot. Or for me, it was had that much intensity to it. So learning all about the different herbs and spices and all, it has benefited us tremendously in our body.
And like I was talking to your son before the show, everything we want to know today in America or anywhere in the world, actually, if you can get to Google or you can get to YouTube, it's like my doctor says, don't go to Google and try to diagnose your symptoms. But when it comes to foods and what cultures eat what, YouTube is for technology, that's where I go. What are they saying on YouTube? And I do this even with theological studies. I'll take like 10 different searches and I'll see if at least 8 or 9 of those agree, which leads me to a good point. I'm going to find a good vein of study. It may not be the end result. So, use Google, but watch how you use Google, and so on. The Apostle Paul continues on later, and he talks about how that we belong to God. He says in 1 Corinthians 6:19, the God's Word translation, don't you know that your body is a temple that belongs to Holy Spirit? The Holy Spirit whom you received from God lives in you. You don't belong to yourselves. So I realize there is the element of the creator versus the created. And we didn't create ourselves. The scriptures say that. So in a matter of honor to our creator, we need to take care of everything and be disciplined in everything that we have. That includes not only our physical bodies, but our finances and et cetera, because this is a matter of again, you've already mentioned it, consequences, and it takes the King James Version of the Bible going all the way to the Amplified Version of the Bible to find the word consequences, but it's in there. And the thing is there's consequences to every action. So when it comes to foods and it comes to hydration and some of these things, what do you say to people, especially where there's abusiveness when it comes to their body?
Yeah, eat less, drink more. That's kind of like one of my philosophies. So when I first wake up in the morning, I just don't break my fast. I actually drink and hydrate, start the day off right, and just hydrate all the vital organs and the brain, like we talked about last week. Hydration is big, and then diet, just being aware of what you eat, when you eat, and how much you eat.
Yeah. So let me ask this question about water. I've been holding this for all week long. When it comes to water, here we don't drink tap water. There's a lot of city water systems that are not necessarily healthy. There are contaminants and various things. So we drink Ice Mountain spring water. Now it's not the most expensive out there, but it is more than if you just drink purified water. What is your preference in your research? What would you tell people if there was a kind of water they should drink?
Our suggestion is always spring water. A lot of people will think, well, if I get the drinking water label, that is still usually from a tap or from a source that has been gone through a filtration system of some sort. So yes, we encourage the spring water to drink on a daily basis.
Yeah, good natural spring water just has the minerals and natural minerals in it and all. And then they always clean it up anyways, just because they get it from a spring somewhere. They're still gonna just make sure it's filtered somehow. Just make sure it's good and clean. Just good clean water. Excuse me. And then there's products out there such as filters that you can buy. Mm-hmm. And then there's also machines that you can buy that actually ionize the water, that actually increases the pH. So it's just like you mentioned earlier, Pastor Bill, you can get on the internet and just research water. What kind of water should I drink? What's the healthiest water? There's a big world out there when it comes to water. But, we definitely recommend the natural. More natural, the better, right? The way God put it in the earth. And then what I actually do is I have a container. I learned this from the East. I actually have a copper vessel that I put a certain amount of my water in. It's just a pure copper water pitcher. And I put my water in that pitcher and I let it sit for a day or two and just let that water rest. All the water that is collected and brought into the house, it's gone through a process. It's traveled through pipes. It's traveled. It's just traveled. So I like for my water to sit in my house and become part of the frequency and the environment, so to speak. Just really, it's kind of like what for me. It's just a sanctification process for my water.
Yeah, yeah.
And then the copper effect to that, what it actually does is just a little bit of that copper, not much, but a little bit actually gets infused in the water, and it actually increases your brain health. So there's a lot of medicinal purposes also to do that.
There's a lot of extra stuff to go with water, but just as a general thumb, we just suggest if you're going to start somewhere, start with natural spring water.
Yeah. And then you can always add a little pinch of pink Himalayan salt. That's just a pinch, because if you are hydrating a good bit, and you want to replace your body back with the minerals and all, and then of course the pH of the water really helps too, and it gives it just a little bit of flavor. If you are, some people are like, well, I just don't like the flavor, the taste, or has no taste, or I just can't drink water. And then we always recommend that you can infuse your water with cucumber or strawberry, lemon. You can always flavor it, and that will enhance it. Number one, wash your vegetables well, cut them up, and then you're actually adding nutrient and flavor to the water. So there's many little hacks you can do to enjoy drinking water.
Now, do you use over-the-counter flavorings, or actually take fruits or vegetables and cut them up and put them in the water?
We enjoy the natural. We enjoy it, and we just believe anything natural, more natural is preferred.
Now, Pastor Jamie, in other cultures, a lot of people are really into hot tea. Of course, you got to use water to boil the tea. But is the preferred method, is it tea or coffee, or just water all the time?
No, there's definitely benefits to both, to tea and coffee. Again, it goes back to indulgence. How many cups of coffee do you have to have, or those kinds of things. But there's definitely benefits to both, especially with herbal teas and the hot tea. When I say hot, room temperature or warmer, so like a warm, nice tea. It does things in the body that different than cold. So kind of like a little mini science lesson. The molecules, everything's made up of molecules, and when the molecules are cold, like an ice cube, they slow down and they come together, and then when they warm up, just like maybe regular water, they're more mobile and move around. So you think about that when you're drinking a liquid. It's actually best to drink room temperature or warmer hot liquids for the organs and everything to have that health benefit in your body.
We keep our spring water in the refrigerator, but for me, I let it set out all day before I drink it, so it kind of gets to room temperature. That's kind of how I like it. But I like coffee. I drink coffee since I was 14 or 15 years old, but I have a limit. And especially, my body at Earth years is 66, about 5 months more before I'm 67. And so the older you get, the less you want to drink, especially late in the evening, so you have less bathroom trips at night. That's really a thing. But I have a limit on how much coffee I drink a day. It's either 1 cup, and I use my mug. It's either 1 or it's 2. 2 is the max, and I never go over that. But I'll also, in addition to that, drink 3, 4, sometimes more bottles of water each day. And that's as far as soda. I love root beer, but it's once in a blue moon. I used to be an everyday thing and excess. So you kind of have to balance, and you learn what works.
That's right. Yeah, we used to and still do enjoy a cream soda,
yes,
the cream. Yeah, the
yes,
cool sodas.
absolutely.
Yeah, so we actually take the children out for that kind of treat. And we, nothing's off limits with our children. We don't want to be the type that says no, don't, and stay away from. And then one day,
they overindulge.
Yeah.
And we've seen it happen in other people that we know, and so we've made it a point to lead by example.
Yeah.
and those kinds of things, and then say, okay, it's okay to have this, and if so that way their conscience is not condemned, because your brain is the physical organ in your body, but it's also very connected to your soul. So if you eat something condemned, it has a worse effect on your body than it would if you just ate it indulgently. So we try to make sure that we don't put those laws on them. Don't ever drink a soda, or don't ever eat this, so they're not condemned when they eat it.
It should be enjoyable. It should be an event. We tell people all the time, when you go out to eat, it should be like going to the movies. It should be like an event. I don't go out to the movie theater every day.
Right.
So I'm not gonna go out and eat the buffet every day, or I'm not gonna go out and eat my favorite stuff every day. So just being strategic, just being mindful, being disciplined, aware. And then we notice too, when we eat, we enjoy eating our meal about midday, around the 1-2 o'clock hour, even 12 noon. We enjoy eating that, and then having the rest of the day for that to digest, break down, utilize it. And then in the evening time is a very, very light munch of some sort, very light. Mostly my children, they'll eat a little yogurt, maybe a little granola with it, but it's really just not eating such a heavy meal. I was raised up, Bishop, where I ate 3 meals a day, and they were big meals. My mama, the way she gave her love was through food, and I woke up eating. Had a big meal, and when I say cook, she cooked the whole deal here in the South. And we would even eat, even though we ate early, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. A lot of people consider that early. Really wasn't for the big old meal. I'm talking about fried chicken. We were eating big.
Felt it all night.
Yeah, and then so over a period of time, that's going to affect you as you're trying to wind down for the day. Slow, usually when it starts getting dark, you come into the house, your activity level slows down a little bit. So just learning when to eat, that has been a tremendous benefit for us.
Because one of the things I wanted to say was, I don't have the exact statistic, but it's like 50 to 70% of the energy that we exert in our bodies all goes towards digestion. So if you eat things that are hard to digest, or you eat a lot to digest, all of your energy has to go to digesting that food. And so that's why people feel lethargic after they eat. They're very lazy. Let's go take a nap, and those kinds of things, because it saps your energy. So if you eat light meals and light things that is very easy for your body to digest, like the vegetables and the greens and stuff that have those natural enzymes, so it takes less of your body's energy to digest, you have more energy because your body's not digesting so hard or for long periods of time.
And incorporating the two, we learned this in another culture. When we lived in the Dominican Republic, we noticed that the culture does not drink with their meal. They may have a little glass of water just if they need it. But, here, the way I was raised, we drank about 3 or 4 glasses of sweet tea with our meal. And what that does is actually dilutes the digestion acid and fluids in our stomach when doing so. So we noticed that once you are hydrated, once you do drink your water as you should, then you produce enough saliva, which is part of the digesting process. I've never, in fact, when we go out to eat now, the waitress are just, they really try to convince us that we want something to drink with our meal, and we tell them no, the complimentary glass of water here is enough, because we don't drink excessive amounts of fluid with our meal now. And we usually 30 minutes before a meal, 30 minutes after a meal, we usually hold off on any type of fluid intake just to help with digestion. And if we do, we enjoy a good juice. And not all juices are the same. We like a good natural juice, whether that's orange juice or mango or some kind of juice, even papaya, anything that has a good enzyme factor to it that really aids digestion. So we really like a good natural type of juice with our meal too, which helps with the whole digestion process and hydration at the same time.
Yeah, and all of these are relatively common things that we've heard before, but we're talking about a matter of discipline, just disciplining yourself, changing your routines, your habits, think healthy, eat healthy, and be healthy. So we've got to, we're a little more than halfway through our show this morning. We've got to move on to exercise, because one of the things we see in the U.S., and I don't know how it is in other countries, is there's a lot of exercise nuts, thinking that, and I mean that respectfully, that thinking that exercise is the way to good health. I remember years back, I spent 25 years in construction, and a lot of that time I spent as a construction foreman, but I was a working foreman. So we're working in the wading the snow, or we're working in the hot sun, sweating a lot, and you're a lot healthier even without adding exercise to your routine. But 1 Timothy 4 verse 8 says, "For bodily exercise profits little." It doesn't say it doesn't profit anything. It just says it profits little. But then it says that, but godliness is profitable for all things, having promise of the life that is now and that which is to come. Now, there's a lot can be said about this, but I think what I would do is just add the Passion Translation to this that says, "For athletic training only benefits you for a short season, but righteousness brings lasting benefit in everything. For righteousness contains the promise of life for time and eternity." So, how much exercise do people need? Is exercise really going to help that much? Is more the discipline of eating and what you drink and so on better for you? I'd like to hear your comments about that.
Sure, and I tend to revamp that word exercise into movement now. As long as you're getting some type of movement, and there's different types of movement, different types of exercise, whether that be cardio, whether that falls up under an anaerobic or aerobic type of exercise, whether it's just a simple walk in the park, a simple light walk, or whether it be a brisk walk, long as the body is moving. And what I've learned over a period of time is if you're really listening to your body, excuse me, you will know what to do. You will know how to do. You'll know when it's time to do a little jogging. You'll know when it's time to do a little cycling, maybe some swimming. Here in the South, we get to enjoy the swimming pool. So, if you just going to the gym every single day and doing the same old thing, it has a little bit of benefit to it. But I believe that as our body grows and changes, evolves, needs to rise and all of that, we need to be sensitive to the way we exercise. So,
I wanted to, so like you're what's my train of thought here for a second? So when you're putting the right things in your body, the nutritional things in your body, supplements, vitamins, eating healthy and all that, having that healthy mindset, you hear your body a whole lot better. So now that I'm eating clean and that kind of thing, I can listen to my body, and I know when I need to go eat some red meat. I can just feel it, and I just, I'm listening to my spirit as well. As a woman, I can feel certain things for the month, and ovulation and things. I never could feel that kind of thing before. So when you're putting those right things in your body, yes, exercise is a benefit, but it's not pivotal to losing weight or staying healthy. And then, so like, even when you're putting the right things in your body, sunscreen is not necessarily a have to. If you're eating the right things, it produces sunscreen. So like, our children haven't worn sunscreen, and we've been at the pool almost every day this summer, no sunburns, because of what they're putting in their body is a natural sunscreen, instead of putting chemicals on their body that goes into their body, that kind of thing. So again, the more nutritional minded you are, it's gonna balance. You don't have to concentrate so much on hitting the gym every single day. And
then hitting the gym, in the gym, you got your free weights, you got your treadmills, you got your workout machines and all kind of stuff. But exercise is way more than that. It's really a focused, concentrated effort on the physical body. So another word where we switch exercise for movement we actually, yoga, for example, yoga is becoming more mainstream here in the West and becoming more commonly accepted here. Not as fast here in the Christian circle as the rest of the world right now, but I believe it's catching up. And we simply take that word yoga and say, look, it is, we substitute it with stretching. Just stretching, daily stretching is a phenomenal exercise, a movement exercise that can help the body tremendously, whether you're keeping the flexibility in the spine, whether you're stretching the hamstrings and the ligaments and the sinews of the body, everything. To me, I don't go a day without stretching. It's amazing. Usually when most people get out of bed, first thing they want to do is stretch. The body wants to stretch and have that agility, put back into it. So whether you're just a simple stretch, a simple movement, that has been a big game changer too for us in the area of exercise.
Yes.
And of course, we get to do all the jogging and Ironman contests and cycling, and there's nothing off limits. Especially, I worked in construction too, Bishop Bill. I remember those days, and yes, I got exercise times 10 when I'm toting the lumber, moving the sheetrock. I mean, exercise. Come join my exercise program for a day, right? So we don't lock it into got to go to a gym, got to lift a weight, got to yoga, breathwork, even breathwork, as we'll briefly mention, just in the way that you breathe has a very cardio benefit to it, certain type of breath technique. So yeah, we really love to see the body across exercise more, but we really want them to realize that it can be just as simple as going out for a walk, a brisk walk, a slow walk, a jog, or whatever that may be.
And there's all kinds of disciplines. I left martial arts when I was in the middle of my first degree black belt process. And I know that a big thing, I had a Christian instructor, but a big thing is stretching. Always stretch before you work out. And that can be very true, even in the morning when you get out of bed and stretch the muscles, and I mean all of that is helpful. I remember as a pastor years back when I would come in contact with people who were disabled and they were bound to a chair and would say, but I can't exercise, and I would ask them, can you lift your leg? If you can lift your foot, put your leg straight out, which a therapist would ask you that, you can do that 5, 6, 7, 10 times. You can work those leg muscles. There are things you can do. If you're able to move your hands, there are exercises you can do. You can stretch the neck and the shoulder blades. So there are things that everybody can do. If you love the breathing and the discipline, there's Tai Chi. You can, the slow movements, but you're disciplining your body. One thing that is very important is this thing of discipline. In everything we do, there has to be discipline. 1 Corinthians 9:27 in the Message Bible says, I'm staying alert. This is the Apostle Paul talking to the Corinthian church. I'm staying alert and in top condition. And I realize he's talking about something else here. He says, I'm not going to get caught up napping, telling everyone else all about it, and then missing out for myself. I realize he's talking more spiritual, but here's the thing. It's a concept. The principle here, stay alert and you stay in top condition. If you sleep on the job, which for me can mean if you don't take care of yourself. I mean, let's face it, here in the COVID period, okay, so it's opening up a little more, okay, people are able to go to the pool, go to the gym, but if you're at home, there's stationary cycles. You mentioned treadmills. That's walking. Okay, you can control how you walk without a treadmill. There's exercises for your hands. That I mean, you can get all of that in one simple small area gadget, and you can do something. That's the key here. Is when you feel like you're really messed up, you can do something to improve your physical health. Like you said, breathing, how you eat, how you drink, and so on. So should we tell others the things that work for us? We used to have those books, 10 Steps to Victory, 6 Steps to overcoming life. And it's because somebody got a revelation and it worked for them, and maybe it didn't work exactly for someone else. But when we learn keys to taking care of ourselves, should we tell the whole world about it?
I believe so, Pastor Bill. We should share that. You know, just simply dancing. When you start feeling good in your body, when you start getting healthy and strong, you actually feel like dancing and moving and all. You know, I believe we were put in a body to move and enjoy and have fun.
Yes.
I definitely enjoy dancing of all kind. Also, our home coach, she taught us part of Operation Intelligent Church, a more intelligent church, and I believe that's what we're going to have here in the West. That it's not about working out harder; it's about working out smarter. So there's so many techniques. You know, if you were to you talked about someone who is confined to a chair a lot, but can raise their leg. Okay, well, how about raise your leg and hold it there for 1 minute, and just imagine, and you know, especially when you maybe can do a lot curl, when you actually hold the tension on the bicep on the up and the down. You know, what I've learned is that you're actually building the top 1, top 2 fibers of the muscle. There's so many benefits of simply working out. And again, back to when you are working out, I believe it is a focus, concentrated effort whenever you do that. So of course the benefits is going to, you know, lose weight or be tone or whatever benefit physical is going to be a part of that. But also it's the I believe it's the releasing of the endorphins. You know, we're going to tie it back into mental health. You can't exercise helps the mental realm. You just feel better when you work out. And I tell a lot of people, ask them all the time. They're like, I'm not feeling too well and got this going on. Got asked. One of the things I ask is how much movement, how much exercise are you doing right now? And usually it's little to none. And just a simple suggestion of, all right, well, let's start moving. Let's just get into some kind of daily movement, whatever that might be for you at this season, and then let me know how you feel. And 9 times out of 10, they feel a lot better. You know, the endorphin, everything is being released, and I know I feel better when I go cycling or when I go do anything. And usually when I'm not feeling well, I'm a little low. My vibrational state's a little low. I do go out for that purpose, even though I don't feel like going out to exercise or to walk or run. But I know what's going to happen when I get back, when I get done, when I actually do the thing. And it's always a rewarding effect. So the two do tie together.
Feel better in your body and your mind.
Yep, body and mind.
But yeah, it's definitely very important to share because diet and exercise is such a broad area to study and to learn from. It's really important for people to share what works for them because it might help somebody. And again, everybody is different. So different things will work for different people. Some things might not work for people. But airing it and your experiences, just like your testimonies and other areas, are so beneficial for other people to learn from.
We just had this conversation yesterday, Bishop Bill, about when exercise. We know that there's an egotistical way of working out where that person they want the big muscles and they want the physique and all of that, but that person can be very unhealthy with the things that they're taking in their body to obtain that, or they just might be eating not as clean or not living a healthy lifestyle. Maybe they could even be smoking, drinking, partying, X, Y, and Z, all of that, but yet have this physique, and you see them in the physical, and you would say, "Wow, look at them! They're healthy, they're strong." And actually, they are not. They are not. And so there is a I believe the spiritual discipline. I believe physical exercise does profit little, but it does profit, and that it should be incorporated, but not to be put above or beyond the spiritual, the mindful aspect of why we should move in our body.
Because again, for us to be whole, it is a holistic thing: mind, soul, spirit, body. You know, all that encompasses it all. So you can't be disciplined in one area and not in the other, and be in a peaceful state. So you might be spiritually disciplined, but then maybe physically not, and have, you know, ailments and things like that then also contradict your spiritual position or your level, where you
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
So
So for the remainder of our session, we want to get to breath work and cold therapy, but I want to segue into that by laying out this: that about 20 years ago, doctors would say that recovery or getting from point A to point B with your health was 50%. 50% was a right mental attitude. But within the last 10 years, doctors have changed and said it's 100% of a right mental attitude to get to your recovery or change. And so if you don't have the right mental attitude, we talk. I want to tell everybody you can go to World Bible School Media on YouTube, and you can look at last week's session where we talked about the soul, which is your mind, will, intellect, and emotions. And you can see more about mental health. It's very important. But also, as we're talking about the body today, we're intermixing some of the discipline, which is a mental. It's just not just mental assent like E.W. Kenyon taught a lot using mental assent. It's really a discipline of the mind, deciding that this is what I need to do, and so I'm going to take this approach. Like at the end of the show last week, we did the breathing exercise. Okay, if you are focused on your breathing, you're not thinking about everything else that's going on around you. You're thinking about how I'm breathing, and so when it comes to breath work and cold therapy, how does all of that fit together?
So the heart mind connection, I love this discussion aspect of it. And Jamie, maybe she'll share her cold therapy dialogue on that. Yeah. So the breath again, I believe the breath is the life. Life is in the breath. And learning how to be mindful of one's breath, how to utilize your breath, staying out of a fight or flight scenario when you enter a flight or fight scenario, learning to stay calm, being in that sympathetic mindset, renewing, retraining the nervous system so that it does stay calm and relaxed, even when you are exercising. Just because a lot of, I used to think I had to run and get my heart rate up. And now I actually, when I do run, I run with my mouth closed and I breathe through my nose. And that's where I enter into the aerobic, anaerobic, the whole benefits of the nitric oxide buildup in your body and all the science behind that. But you really can, when working with breath, Bishop, now when I run and it's intense, I'm actually out of my body. I'm actually observing myself run, because before I would huff and puff, not because I was out of shape, but I was just breathing through my mouth. If I need more air, I'm going to breathe through my mouth. Well, I've trained my body now and I've trained my heart rate. I've trained, so much has been reprogrammed simply through the breath. So staying calm and all of that. And I use that to lead into just cold therapy. Again, heart and mind, as we speak about cold therapy. Very simple, something that everybody can do, and we're very practical in what we do. So like last week we had a little breathing 1 minute silent breath exercise. This week I would introduce to the audience cold shower, cold water, just cold bath, not the lukewarm or the just right feel or the hot scalding. Actually make it uncomfortable. And there's a way to do that, not just jump right in like me. I'm very zealous and I'll jump right into the ice bath and all. But actually just turn on the cold water, as cold as your shower can be, and just start with the hand and the arm. Just start with different parts of the body, letting the water hit, and just be mindful of how uncomfortable that feels, and slowly acclimate your body to it. But now, Bishop Bill, I take nothing but cold showers, and it's always invigorating. It's always a mindful thing now, because number one, I have to remind myself to breathe, stay calm. I'm not going to die. Even though it's cold, see, the body still wants to be like, get me out of this situation. And you're putting yourself, when you jump into cold water, you're putting yourself in a stressful situation intentionally. So what that does is it triggers a response. you know, and usually most people, when they get in the cold water, what do? Like they really, they lock up, tense up.
Yeah, it's a
tense
wake up call.
hold their breath. Yeah.
So is cold water actually better for you, a cold shower rather as opposed to a hot or a semi-warm shower?
I will say overall, yes, whether it be for the sake of the skin, whether it be just for temperature itself, I say yes in many different ways. Now, I still enjoy a warm bath, don't get me wrong.
And there's purposes for warm baths.
There's a purpose for the warm bath,
hot.
or even hot bath, sauna. You know, we talk just as much about hot water therapy as we do cold, but the cold tends to do a lot of work fast in the area of the mind. So learning how to control thoughts, especially when you actually sit down in cold water for a few minutes, learning how to control your mind, how to control your breathing, how to control your body. When I first got into the cold ice bath, my body I couldn't control my body. It shook violently to the point that it really made me concerned. Like, wow, cold water has this effect on me.
Yeah.
Wow. You know, so we recommend a tip that helps people become more aware of their body, more aware of their thoughts. It's just an awareness tool to subject yourself to an uncomfortable situation simply through the cold shower. And listen, once you anybody can do that. The first 30 seconds. I have one client. What he does is he can dial his shower into right where he likes it. He has a certain setting, he likes it. But what he does is he goes ahead and jumps in and allows that water to catch up, allow the warm water, the temperature, the setting to catch up. So at first he's all, you know, it's intense and all that. But as it warms up, he's able to come into himself and get more comfortable. And as I stress, it's just an awareness tool. You know, how do you feel when you do that? What is your breathing like? What thoughts are going through your mind right now? Especially cold shower for me, if you are dealing with a lot of whatever it might be, any kind of, for me, financial stress or a relationship, anything that you just can't quite get your mind settled, go take a cold shower. You know, we hear this a lot of times in the area of, take a cold shower and you get, so cold shower does a lot. It really produces a shift in the body. So when we say cold therapy, that's what we refer to.
But in that way, a cold shower becomes the turnoff. But but I'm going to have to bring you guys back another time as a couple and talk about marriage and things, healthy marriage. But anyway, so Pastor Jamie, you know, cold therapy and breathing, all of these things really do affect the mind and the body, and we do things consistently to see what works or what makes me feel better. So that I can not be controlled by the demands of my physical senses, but I can actually be released into, I'm just doing this because it's a better thing for me. Tell us some more about that.
Yeah, so I want to say this, the breath, the heart, and the mind, you know, obviously every organ is connected, but knowing that you can control, if you start working with one, it affects the other. So where a lot of people, they get out there and they're running, huffing and puffing, because when their heart gets going, their breath gets going. So that's why Jeffrey says that he starts controlling his breath and breathing calmer as he's running, which then slows his heart rate down as he's running, so he can run longer, because it's not a muscle issue that you can't run 3 miles. It's a heart and a breath issue, right? So the same thing is, if I'm just laying on the couch and I just start doing breath work, I just start, you know, getting really heavy in my breathing, it's going to increase my heart rate automatically, and I'm not even doing any physical exercise. So there's a lot of people that worry about, well, I need to get my heart rate up. Well, you can do that by laying on the couch and doing breath work. Wim Hof and, you know, Troy Casey, those guys are the big ones in the breathing, you know, heavy breathing and stuff. And so, but what's the first thing we do? Like if a child gets all upset, we tell them to breathe, because it calms their heart down, it calms the emotion down. So So yeah, it's definitely huge working those all three of those things together. So with the cold therapy, I'm always cold. I'm just one of those people that I'm usually always cold, and getting into a pool even in mid-summertime down here in the South where it's like 102 degrees out, I'm
Yeah.
still like, this is cold, you know. And so the cold therapy was like a big thing for me to mentally overcome. And so when he started getting the freezer and those kinds of things, the kids were getting in it fully, and I was still like just putting my tippy toes in. So I did start with the showers. I started with all that, and when I finally was ready, okay, I'm ready, and I had to concentrate on my breath because it
Yes.
took it out of my mind of what I was going into. Yeah. And it makes it so much easier of doing that. Like,
I simply tell myself I am not my body at that moment. Like I can literally, okay, my inside my body is what 98.7 degrees. I mean, whatever this. So it's like I can just focus on my internal temperature and I'm relaxed, or I can actually observe myself but I'm not my body. And through breathing and meditation, I can sit in an ice bath now for 5 minutes. When I first was introduced to it, I couldn't handle 15 seconds. It just, I shivered my way on. I mean, I was a nervous wreck.
And there is a lot of therapeutic dialogue out now about ice baths and the various applications. As far as that goes, I remember one of the things I took away from martial arts years ago was how to take when you're strained and you're breathing hard, how to slow your breathing down. We had a breathing technique where we could literally slow our breathing down. I've kept that with me still to this day. Different things going on, but then at the same time, Pastor Jamie's talking about laying on the couch and you can just do breathing exercises to increase your heart rate, which getting the blood pumping is a good thing. Now let me ask Pastor Jamie. I know we're already at the top of the hour, but let me ask you: when a woman is having a child in childbirth, there are breathing exercises that a woman is taught to do. Are those the same type of exercises we're talking about to increase your heart rate, or is it something completely different?
No, I think the idea behind Lamaze breathing is concentrating and breathing out your nose to help calm the body. I kind of went a different approach when I had mine, so I did do more of a calm. With the Lamaze, they do kind of get you to do like a rhythmic thing, and it all does boil down to a mental thing. They're basically trying to get you to concentrate on something, and that breathing does help you push when it does come down to pushing. I went into more of the silent breath of breathing through my nose than inhaling, doing most of it through the combination of in through the nose and out through the mouth. I concentrated more on nasal breathing because it helped keep me calm and not quite so tense, and I was able to relax in my mind and my body when I did mine.
So even with a cold shower type of thing, it's still about breathing. It's still because I know a lot of people, if the hot water stops, okay, and you're in the shower, here comes the cold water, and it's cold, and you it's just so cold. But mentally, you can slow that down and be in control of your body. And I think those are really some of the things the Apostle Paul was talking about in not being bound to the elements that the body is subject to, that you control your body. I learned that also if you're working in hot weather, it's a mental thing to keep the hot weather from controlling you, just as if you're in cold weather. I remember waiting in knee-deep snow, brushing lumber off and bringing lumber into a building that we were framing in the dead of winter, and you can control all of that. Anything else you'd like to add before we are done today?
Just simply, holistic health is very simple, Bishop Bill. As we talked about earlier, it's easy to Google anything, YouTube anything. Before I actually obtained my certification, by the time I obtained my certification for holistic health and life and transformation coaching, I already knew it all. I just simply went and got the credential just to say so, just so I could put the thing on the wall that says, hey, he knows what he's talking about. But we actually walked it out in our life, just knowing that we wanted to honor God in our body, honor God in our thoughts. We wanted to love him totally with all our heart, mind, soul, and strength.
Amen.
And we just wanted to just live a good, holy life, without being legalistic, religious, and condemn all this. We just wanted to, a more long, satisfying, abundant life that Jesus says that we can have. So we knew that he provided it, but we have our part now to coincide with that, right? To work within that. So, big honor to our pastors, Kirby and Fiona De Lanero, Wildlife Church in Sri Lanka. They have taught, they have exemplified, they live that life. And the whole Wildlife Church culture, they exemplify what vibrant health is, what it means to be alive in Christ and to be healthy and to overcome whatever current temporary circumstance you may find yourself in, or may not be presently, or what you may come into, or what you had before. There's actually a holistic pathway, very simplistic pathway, that through the Spirit, God will teach you exactly what you need, and it's so simple, right? That it may not be easy, but it is simple.
And remembering that they all work in conjunction. Holistically, it's in conjunction. The mind, the body does not work separately from the soul. It does not work separately from the spirit. They all work together. And when you have your body in balance, you can listen to your spirit more, or the Spirit of God more. When you have it all together, that's just, to me, what I would like everybody to take away.
And then with all of that, when those components are aligned, now finances get in line, relationships get in line, your career or your calling is now more defined and in line. So we really thank you for this time, Bishop Bill, to introduce the spirit, soul, and body aspect of Christianity here in the 21st century. As we mentioned before, it's a loud time, it's a chaotic time, it's a very intriguing time that we live in now. So we who are represent Christ in the earth, we who are Christ in the earth, we should be showing the world, leading the world in this area of health and life.
Amen. And my wife, Dr. Faye, says, thank you both for these great shows and great information concerning health. We can all benefit from this. So I just, there's a lot of teachings out there. I know Dr. Kay Fairchild, who forwarded my first volume on the book of Revelation, she teaches on the mind-brain connection, which really is talking about the soul and spirit that overall impacts the body. And so it's very important that we change the way we think. See, I've had healing shows before many times. I have healing videos available, a part 1 and a part 2 type thing. But we got to where we stopped teaching on healing as far as giving words of knowledge, and nothing wrong with that. And then we changed it to start talking about how we think. If we can change the way people think, we can change their life. It's like give a person a fish, and you fed them for a day, but you teach them how to catch fish, you feed them for a lifetime. If you change people's thinking, you help them see things differently, then it affects their overall life. And so I want to leave everybody with Romans 13 verse 14 from the Passion Translation. Instead, fully immerse yourselves into, or fully clothed with, the Lord Jesus, the Anointed One, and don't waste even a moment's thought on your former identity to awaken to selfish desires. This is a good scripture for the transitioning from old habits, unhealthy habits, diets that haven't worked, but you still try to do the same thing because your faith is in a diet. I remember Bishop Kirby said, whatever we do, we need to do it in faith. If you have to have the coronavirus vaccination, do it in faith. If you have to go to the doctor, do it in faith. If you're going to approach a system that helps you improve your health, do it in faith. So I want to thank you both. This has been such a joy, not only to get to meet you, but also to talk about something that's very near to my heart, which is Spirit, Soul, and Body, a course that I even teach in World Bible School University. And it's also important to see the union that the two of you have as far as a married couple. And so I just really appreciate you both. And thank you so much for taking time to be on with me these last 3 weeks.
Thank you, Bishop Bill. Thank you so much. And
You're
everybody
most
who's
welcome.
too, we're very grateful for your comments and support. We really have enjoyed it. Wish it could continue on and on. And maybe it will in
Amen.
some other format or some way, but when you're passionate about what you believe in, I told my son today, we were talking, he said, I told him, when you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. And we just love what we do and the passion and the vision we have for the body of Christ. We just again, thank you for the opportunity to share that.
Amen. Most welcome. And we're definitely going to do something again down the road. So as time allows. So I just appreciate you both. Thank you everybody for watching. This is our last broadcast for the week. We were able to get all 4 broadcasts in this week. I've got a massive college course to teach tomorrow, but a lot of things going on. If you would click like and then click share, let people know about World Bible School Media. World Bible School broadcast was going on a long time before there was World Bible School University. And so just as an announcement, I'll tell everybody we are a fully accredited university recognized by the Missouri Department of Higher Education as a legal school allowed to give out degrees. We have associate, bachelor, master, and doctorate degree programs. So we're doing our best to help re-educate the thinking of people all around the world. Almost 400 students at this point in time and still growing, and we just love. I will just make this announcement, and if I say things out of line, the managing director, Dr. Fay, kind of lets me know about it. But we are in the application process with Bishop Kirby DeLanerol becoming a professor at World Bible School University. And the reason I'm saying that is because we're not trying to take an Eastern philosophy and cram it down your throat. We're trying to look at cultures around the world. My wife even teaches a course on religions, and it's about different religions and how God's involved in those people, and it's really opening some things up to the world, that it's not just about one place, your surroundings as far as the eye can see, and that's the end of it. No, the whole world is filled with God. All creation is filled with God, and he unconditionally loves his creation. So thank you everybody for watching. We love you, and we will see you next week, back to our panel discussion on Tuesday night. Bless you everybody. Bye bye everyone. Bye bye.
You are the same yesterday, forever. Your word remains.